You follow the rules. You keep quiet. You try to be honest, fair, and loyal. Yet you feel powerless. People mistake your silence for weakness. They twist your patience into submission. You stay faithful, but they stay calculating. You show your heart, and they sharpen their blades. They don't care how good you are. They only care how much control you hold. You've lived as a man, but men are broken every day. What survives is something colder, something untouchable. There comes a point when a man stops asking and starts deciding, when he stops chasing approval and becomes the storm others must endure. That moment is your rebirth. Machiavelli would call it one thing: God mode. No emotion, no guilt, no hesitation, just strategy, silent, precise, and merciless. You become unreadable, unpredictable, untouchable. This isn't divinity, it's domination. This video isn't here to inspire you. It's here to change how you think, to kill the obedient version of you, to awaken the part that commands without raising its voice, moves unseen, and bends outcomes to its will. Machiavelli didn't wait for power. He built it, and now, so will you. Before gaining power, you must first destroy the part of you that craves recognition. The need to be seen is the first weakness your enemies will exploit. Machiavelli understood this. He saw rulers fall not from lack of strength, but from their hunger for credit, for praise, attention, admiration. The moment you crave that, you hand people leverage over you. God mode begins with invisibility, not physical invisibility, but psychological. You no longer act for applause, you act for results, quietly, strategically, without validation. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But before the world fears you, you must stop fearing its opinion. The truth is simple. People won't value your actions until they need you. They won't notice your strength until it threatens them. They won't respect your silence until it starts to control the game. So let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Let them assume you're irrelevant. Meanwhile, you build leverage quietly. A man who needs recognition will always reveal his hand too soon. He'll speak when silence is wiser. He'll try to look powerful instead of being powerful. That isn't God mode. That's ego disguised as insecurity. Real power means moving like a shadow. Detach from image. Detach from applause. Detach from the need for others to witness your greatness. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be undeniable. And that comes from actions with impact, not emotions with excuses. The less visible your motives, the more dangerous your presence becomes. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince. You just change the outcome, and they wonder how. You don't need to raise your voice to control people. You only need to control what they feel when you enter the room. That feeling must be fear, not rage, not chaos. Fear, the subtle kind. The kind that makes them pause before they speak. The kind that forces hesitation before crossing your boundaries. The kind that lowers their eyes when they meet yours. Fear is the purest currency of power. It doesn't lie. It doesn't bend to opinion. It brings order when morality fails. Machiavelli knew this better than anyone. In a world filled with soft ideals, he spoke hard truths. Men are quicker to offend one who seeks love than one who commands fear. Because love invites assumption and weakness. Fear, when controlled, demands caution, respect, silence. Here's the shift. Stop caring how they feel about you. Care only about what their nervous system does when they think of you. Your presence should be a trigger. The sound of your name should bring weight, silence, calculation. You don't threaten people, you condition them. Step 1. Use unpredictability. Predictable men are easy to control. They smile on cue. They react when provoked. Break that pattern. Let your silence make them uneasy. Let your approval be rare. Let your reactions be calculated, never emotional. keep them guessing. And when they fear being wrong, they adjust themselves around you. This is not cruelty, it's design. You're training their nervous system to obey even in your silence. Step 2. Be disproportionate sometimes. To keep fear alive, you must be calm most of the time and merciless on rare occasions. Show them what happens when you're crossed. Not often, but enough. And when it happens, don't rage. Don't complain. Deliver consequences. Withdraw an opportunity. Cut a connection. Remove them quietly. The punishment must be cold and final. One example rewires their entire approach to you. From then on, they calculate around your presence. Step 3. Weaponize absence. Power doesn't always show up. Sometimes it vanishes. Absence creates tension. Tension creates fear. Most people use attention to feel important. You use absence to build authority. Leave conversations unfinished. Walk away from disrespect without a word. Delay responses until silence speaks louder than explanation. They will think about you more when you're not there. That's when your influence multiplies. Remember, power doesn't chase. Power lingers. Step 4. Never explain, never defend. Justifying yourself is submission. When you explain, you give others the illusion they have influence over you. They don't. Let them question. Let them speculate. You stay above it, untouched. People fear what they don't understand. That's how gods are made. Through silence, not speeches. Machiavelli's God mode is not loud, not violent, not chaotic. It is precise. It is intentional. It is psychological. You don't need to shout to dominate. You only need to condition people until they stop seeing you as just a man and start seeing you as a presence. They must not offend. This is how you rewire fear. This is how you rise. Power becomes weak the moment it's too visible. The more they see your hand, the easier it is to cut it off. That's why the highest form of domination lives in silence. Machiavelli never admired rulers who shouted the loudest. He respected the figure behind the throne, the one who spoke rarely, but whose influence shaped thousands of lives. The man no one could touch, because no one could even prove he existed. Real power comes when you stop trying to appear powerful. You fade from view, yet your presence lingers in every decision made. Let others take the spotlight. Let others chase recognition. You focus on shaping outcomes quietly, without praise, without evidence. You don't issue orders, you guide. A single conversation here, a subtle suggestion there, and then you vanish. While they argue, you watch. While they fight, you calculate. While they chase recognition, you construct control brick by brick, out of sight. By the time they notice, it's too late. And even then, you remain untouchable. Control is not about volume, it's about presence. Your voice doesn't need to echo, your choices do. The man who demands control shows insecurity. The man who stays silent while the room shifts around him, that is the true ruler. This is the elegance of God mode. You win without direct conflict. You influence without shouting. You're not in the spotlight, but the spotlight bends toward you. People will believe they acted freely, never realizing you set their path. That's victory, when control no longer requires fear, but distance. Power isn't only in what you do, it's in what others believe you are. The strongest man in the room is rarely the loudest, the wealthiest, or the most aggressive. More often, it's the one whose image seems beyond reach, crafted so carefully that no one dares question it. This isn't about fame or popularity. It's about building a mask, a presence that unsettles, confuses, and commands attention. A reputation that speaks before you enter, that silences opposition, that enforces obedience without a word. Machiavelli knew perception often outweighs truth. What people believe about you usually matters more than what you actually are. Everyone sees appearances. Verdain so few see reality. Show them only a sharpened, filtered version, surrounded by mystery. Let them speculate. Let them fear. Let envy fill in the details you never reveal. When your persona is untouchable, your actual actions become secondary. They already react to your shadow. You must become the man whose name is spoken in rooms you've never entered. The one people prepare for, but never fully understand. And you achieve that not by announcing who you are, but by becoming a riddle cloaked in strength. You speak rarely, but every word carries weight. You act sparingly, but each action shifts the environment. Calm, composed, above it all, they will project power onto you. Here is the paradox. The more people see, the less they fear. The less they see, the more they imagine. And imagination is where fear grows into legend. So, give them little, don't explain, don't overshare, don't argue. Build a reputation that sustains itself, driven by results, rumors, and silence. If someone speaks against you, your persona should be strong enough that no one believes them. If someone challenges you, they should look foolish before you even respond. That is power, not through domination, but inevitability. Your presence alone should shift behavior. People should walk differently when you arrive. They should rehearse their words before speaking to you. They must never know what you truly want. Your fears, desires, weaknesses, all hidden, because once revealed, they can be used against you. Instead, you maintain a mask, polite but distant, calm yet unreadable, generous but always in control, relatable only at the surface, never vulnerable beneath it. The weak strive to be understood. The powerful craft images no one can touch. When your persona is untouchable, influence becomes automatic. You don't need to explain or justify. You exist, and others adapt. This is real dominance, not brute force, but gravity, a presence that draws people in while keeping them unsure how close they can approach without harm. Understand this, power is not only earned, it is built. And your persona is the armor that protects you in a world quick to destroy the visible. When your name is mentioned, voices should change, tone should lower, words should become careful, not because you threaten, but because you remain undefined. They cannot predict you, cannot place you, cannot measure you. That uncertainty is your edge. The moment they can touch your image, they control it. But if you disappear behind it, you control them. There is one final chain to break, and it is the hardest. Not fear, not weakness, not the opinions of others, but emotion. As long as you are ruled by feelings, you can be controlled. If anger, guilt, affection, or pride drive your decisions, you remain a servant to the same forces that move the masses. You cannot govern a world that still governs your heart. Machiavelli never trusted emotion. He studied it, used it, but never surrendered to it. He understood what most avoid. Emotion is the leash. Logic is the weapon. You've been told to follow your heart. That is advice that weakens armies and destroys rulers. Those who rise feel deeply, but act on nothing. They smile through betrayal. They wait while underestimated. They strike only when unseen, guided by calculation, not impulse. They have already buried their weakness and replaced it with precision. This is what the highest level demands, to let emotions roar inside you, yet remain silent, to endure insult without reaction, to face tests of patience and respond only when it strengthens your position. You no longer speak to be understood. You speak only to gain ground, weaken others, or reinforce control. You must abandon the need for justice. Justice is a story sold to those without power. The powerful don't chase fairness, they seek leverage, and you must stop needing to appear good. That illusion will only chain you. You are not here to be a savior, You are here to be sovereign. Every man tied to his emotions becomes predictable, easy to provoke, easy to trap, easy to destroy. The moment you cut yourself free, you stop being ordinary in their eyes. And that's when you become unstoppable. They won't understand how you think. They won't understand how you endure what they never could. They won't understand how you remain calm, then strike without warning. They'll call you cold. They'll call you ruthless. They'll say you've lost your soul, but in reality, you've finally taken control of it. You've stopped selling your peace to every emotion that arrives. You've stopped giving your energy to people who don't deserve your focus. You don't need to be understood. You don't need forgiveness. You don't need approval. You need only inevitability. This is the final stage of God mode. Not anger, not revenge, but transcendence. You become unshakable, unreachable, untouchable, not because you're cruel, but because you've outgrown the need to appear human to them. Emotion becomes a tool, not a master. Pain becomes information. Love becomes leverage. Loss becomes recalibration. Now you move differently, not faster, but higher, not louder, but sharper, not reckless, but with clarity. You no longer ask, is this fair? Will they like me? Am I doing the right thing? Instead, you ask, does this strengthen my power? Does this secure my position? Does this weaken theirs? Does this weaken theirs? The game never ends. But from this point, you're no longer playing it like a man. You've become something else. A strategist without chains, a ruler without mercy, a presence without emotion. You've activated God mode, and there is no return. You've detached from emotion. You've mastered invisibility. You've built an untouchable persona, and now you must never return to the cage you escaped. The last trap isn't fear. It isn't weakness. It's comfort. Once power starts working in your favor, you'll be tempted to be liked again, to explain yourself, to return to the system you now control. That's the final test, and most fail it. They rise, only to kneel again for applause. They conquer, only to seek affection. They win, but still want acceptance from the world they've outgrown. Don't make that mistake. Machiavelli never admired the man who won once. He admired the man who held power by never stepping off the throne, the man who ruled in silence, never giving others the chance to strike back. It is safer to be feared than loved, when one must be missing. Why? Because fear survives your absence. Love fades, love fades, love fears, love fears, love fears. Entitlement. Power is not built for emotional validation. It is built for survival. You must keep distance between who you are and what they see. Show them the mask, not the man, because if they think they know you, they'll believe they can defeat you. But if your thoughts remain hidden, your motives unreadable, and your silence consistent, they'll never know where to strike. This is the essence of rising above the system. You no longer belong to anyone. No crowd, no cause, no ideology. You are your own kingdom, ruled by principle, not by shifting emotions. You listen to all but reveal nothing. You make others feel included, but remain tied to no one. You say enough to stay relevant, but never enough to be predictable. You become the figure people reference, admire and fear, but never fully understand. When they study you, they find only fragments, shadows, and echoes. Because you've become more than a man, you've become a presence, not tied to rules, not bound to a title, not subject to any hierarchy, but your own. This is how power becomes permanent. You make yourself untouchable, not by force, but by absence. You rise above conflict by creating it. You stop defending yourself and instead become the myth that never explains. The more unpredictable you are, the stronger your rule becomes. The more invisible your strategy, the more undeniable your impact. They may test others, but not you. Not because you frighten them, but because they no longer believe you operate on the same level. And they're correct. You've outgrown the game. You've bent the game. You are the game. And from now on, you stay above it. Because the moment you step down, they will test you. They will try to understand you. They will believe they can reach you. Don't give them that chance. Be visible, but untouchable. Present, but unreadable. Known, but never fully known. This is how rulers become legends. Not through one display of power, but by sustaining it with mystery, caution, and design. You are no longer inside the system. You are the force shaping its walls. Welcome to the highest level. This is God mode. Once activated, it never turns off. Now you see it. The world was never against you. It was indifferent to weakness. You weren't betrayed. You were exposed. You weren't ignored. You were predictable. You weren't denied power. You simply hadn't earned it. Real power is gained in silence, discipline, and control. But that version of you is gone. You no longer seek to be understood. You no longer waste energy on fairness. You don't explain yourself to those beneath your level. You've become the architect, the hidden force, the figure no one anticipates, but everyone feels when you arrive. This is the final evolution. No emotions to exploit, no patterns to track, no image to destroy, because now you are the one shaping images. You're not part of the crowd. You watch it, you influence it, and if needed, you burn it down. You've activated God mode. You are not their equal. You are their lesson. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them wonder how you work. They won't find answers, only outcomes, only consequences, only your name, whispered with fear, mentioned with respect, never fully understood. Because that is the price of power. You stop being relatable. You become inevitable. So the question is, will you use it? Will you take this blueprint and build something untouchable? Or will you fall back into comfort, into the illusion of safety? The choice is yours. If you're ready to rule from the shadows, to win without being seen, to dominate without raising your voice, then this channel was built for you. Like this video if it sparked something in you. Subscribe if you're done following and ready to lead. Share this with those still asleep. They won't understand it, but the ones prepared will feel it. This is the world as Machiavelli saw it, and now it's yours.